Oral questions. Questions orales. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, last week at a town hall in Toronto, a young man named Derek asked me a question and asked me to ask it of the Prime Minister. So here it is. My question relates to the fiscal waste and mismanagement that this government is doing. They empty the cupboard. Their spending is a hodgepodge with no real vision or direction. Why is the Prime Minister throwing away my generation's money in such a reckless, incompetent, and visionless way? Why? Order. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, actually nothing could be farther from the truth. The fact of the matter is this, Mr. Speaker. Obviously, as we all know, we've had to run a deficit over these past couple of years. That said, the deficit of this country is by far the lowest among the major advanced economies. And, Mr. Speaker, that's one of the reasons why we're coming out of this recession faster and stronger than anyone, and why we will continue to resist the wasteful kind of expenditure and tax increases suggested by the Liberal coalition.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Order.
Eric's question was not just about the waste and mismanagement of the government, it was about the government's wasteful priorities. Billions on super prisons, billions on a stealth aircraft without a competitive bid, $1 billion on a wasted G20, G7 photo op. What Derek can't understand is not only the waste and the mismanagement, but how does this government justify those wasteful priorities?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the G20 has been the world's premier economic forum during this global recession precisely for the purpose of managing the troubles in the global economy and diverting the kind of global depression we could have had without it. At the same time, Mr. Speaker, the real issue here raised by the Leader of the Opposition is his priorities. He says that he would ground the Canadian Air Force. He says that he would put criminals out on the streets. And why, Mr. Speaker, in order to justify a bunch of tax increases, he wants to bring on employers. Mr. Speaker, that's the kind of thing that would put the Canadian economy into a deep ditch.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, when he cannot refute the policy of the Liberals, he simply mocks it. Liberals' priorities are different, yes. We want to give care to caregivers and to Canadian families, but this government says that that costs too much. If it costs too much, can these people explain to Canadian families why they wasted billions of dollars on photo ops, on super prisons, and stealth aircraft without any competitive bids? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the policies of the Liberal Party are very clear. It is to spend much more than this government and to increase taxes. Mr. Speaker, in this country, Canada, we have the smallest deficit of all industrialized countries and the best economic performance, and we don't want anything to do with the policies of the coalition. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Discussing an invented, imagined Liberal platform, let's talk about the government's record. We have five prime ministers of different parties. They all had principles, and they all secured a seat on the Security Council. Why does the government have the arrogance to believe it's the only government with principle when it's the only government that failed to secure a seat on the Security Council?
Order. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, I'm always delighted when the opposition doesn't want to talk about its own policies, would rather talk about the government record. Specifically, Mr. Speaker, as we know, Mr. Speaker, in terms of the specific question, there was a secret vote at the United Nations. These things are inherently difficult to predict, regardless of the fact that we had secured written approval from the vast majority of the countries. But the fact of the matter is this, Mr. Speaker, precisely because these things are not predictable, we do not base Canadian foreign policy on them. We act according to Canada's values.
The honourable leader of the opposition.
Monsieur le Président, je comprends.
Mr. Speaker, I don't understand why the Prime Minister has a problem with a secret ballot. 5 Prime Ministers had a secret ballot at the UN, and 5 of them won. 5 Prime Ministers stood up for Canada's defense. 5 won a seat. So why did this Prime Minister lose our UN seat? The Right Honourable Order. The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we received written support from a majority of countries, but it is impossible to predict the vote in a secret ballot. But, Mr. Speaker, we do not base our foreign policy decisions on popularity. We base them on the good interests of Canada and Canadians.